I had viral meningitis at the age of a year and a half old and was hospitalized in Children's Hospital. And after a day, I was like completely incapacitated. I couldn't eat, I couldn't talk, I wasn't moving. And they ran some tests and they had the grief counselors come in and talk to my parents. And they said, I'm sorry to inform you of this, but um, your daughter only has a 0.001% chance of surviving this. So we really need you to prepare yourself, have people come say goodbye. They said in that 0.001% chance, should that magical miracle happen, she will never walk again. That wasn't a question. That wasn't she might not. It was, she will never walk again. On top of that, she will either be mentally or physically handicapped in other ways and potentially lose her hearing at an early age. They said, so 99.99%, she's not leaving this hospital.
Our guest today is a vivacious soul with a passion for life, business, and charity. She is the CEO of Manna, a dynamic company specializing in brand development, graphic and website design, custom clothing, and event management. Since its inception in January of 2022, Manna has quickly grown to serve over 20 businesses, enhancing their branding and marketing reach. Welcome to the show, my friend and total rock star of a human being, Samantha Rae Hughes.
Hello.
Samantha. Hey, this has been like a long time coming, as you and I both know. Ever since you launched Manna and we connected, I think it's probably 2 years ago now, I knew this day was coming. So I'm not surprised that you're on Mic'd Up. Super happy to have you here. I want everybody to know right out of the jump here. They can go to Manna LLC, and I'll have that in the show notes, mannamadellc.com for the website. Facebook and Instagram is clickable there, so you don't have to worry about spelling that. I'm going to do a quick little setup. We'll dive into some questions. This is supposed to be super conversational, and everybody is here for you. I'm just kind of like the setup man. I'm going to sit back and learn your story, and I'm super excited because I know we've obviously talked a little bit about your background before, but it's been a minute, and it's not like you shared everything. So this is going to be super fun for me as your first audience member today. So quick little setup, everybody. If you're new to meeting Samantha for the first time today, I had the pleasure of working with you, obviously with Social Chameleon, right? You were on board with us before you went full-time with Manna. You also helped me launch Mic'd Up merch, the BGBG that everybody sees, and I have the Be Bold shirts and Be Kind. That was all Samantha. I could not have done that without you. So I just want to give you a little shout out on that. You are the artiste behind the brand, and so people get to see your work in action. So I wanted to compliment you, first of all, doing an amazing job with your designs, your creativity, and I love that you lead with your heart, your soul, your energy, and all that good stuff comes together in your business, but you actually live it. A lot of people talk about it and they're like, oh yeah, I'm passionate about my business. Samantha, you actually live it. So I wanted to make sure I pointed that out. So here's my first question, right?
Yeah.
Did you actually have an inspiration, or was there a person in your life from a young age that kind of guided you to become an entrepreneur or that creative person that you are today? Is it simply God's fine art kind of planting the seed in your heart? Where did that come from?
Yeah. So as far as wanting to be an entrepreneur, I don't think it ever hit me that I wanted to be one. That was never something as a young age that I thought I would do full time. I did from a young age always design. So I was always trying to design a logo for a club in elementary school. And I was designing a shirt. And I was like, ooh, we could start this and let me draw up what it could look like. So I think as far as design was always God-given passion and creativity was always God-given passion. I look back on my notebooks from even being the age of 5, and I was literally drawing logos and names of businesses.
Yeah.
Um, so
Everybody was
I
doodling that S. Remember the S with like the 6 lines, and then you connect it. And you were like, "How can I turn this into Skechers? Boom! I just got
I
a new logo."
I created a like logo for my name that was
Yeah,
my initials, but I could draw it all cool. So I
that's
think that
awesome.
that has been just ingrained in me from day one. And that, but as far as entrepreneurship, for me, it was actually a terrifying thing to do and leap to make
Hmm.
into that coming from the financial world. I worked with business owners and entrepreneurs, and I knew how much was behind the scenes to actually make that happen. So for me, I think there was a lot more thought put into it in a, oh my goodness, am I really going to do this? Rather, rather than the excitement, which is weird for me because, as you know, I'm a very excitable person.
Yeah, and I love that. Like I said at the top of the show, like it's your energy. You're living it. You're breathing it. It's not something that you just, some people I think try to find that place, and you come with it naturally, which is you can tell the difference. So that's really cool. You're doodling on your notebooks, and you kind of had this idea that you like design. You're getting more into it. Of course, I think we're similar in age where we kind of started with. Like we know what a library is with books, but we also know what like a computer lab looks like and also
Yeah.
MS Paint, right? And
Which
okay, I know. I'm kind of dating us now. The younger
I,
crowd's going to be like MS Paint. Let me Google that, figure out what the heck they're talking about. So you were kind of doodling in the first digital applications in school and stuff like that. Um, and you mentioned like work with other brands, and it kind of was like something that you saw their branding and eventually. So what was it like before you became an entrepreneur? Did you have kind of a corporate transition into getting into Manna?
very much so. So I actually started out my degree, my associate's is in business and business administration. And I started out doing admin at a financial firm, ended up getting all of my financial licenses and became a licensed financial advisor. So, as a lot of people might know, when you are an advisor, you have to market yourself.
Right.
So, it became doing client events and creating business cards and creating, your outreach, your Facebook and website and what you wanted your business to look like. And for me, that was the pivotal moment.
Hmm.
So, I kind of went, ooh, I just passed all of these exams. I'm capable of doing financial advising, but my brain, every single time I sat down to try to do something, was like, ooh, but what could this client event look like?
Hmm.
Oh, we should redo our letterhead. Oh, I wonder if we should get shirts and hats and I would always gear into that marketing side. So I spoke to the CEO and ended up thankfully kind of being able to do a dual role for the past about 8 years, where I was in a financial firm and could dabble in that as I wanted. But then I also was our director of communications. So I handled all of our clients, everything from client gifting at the holidays
Yeah.
to all of our business cards and swag and our events and all of that good stuff. So
That's
it was good.
awesome. So that was literally like a transitional role. They kind of created it for you, which is really
Yeah.
good on their part. I mean, like not a lot of organizations realize that. And
Oh, yeah.
they kind of have somebody in the wrong spot. I always think of like a baseball team. You have to have like the pitching rotation. You have your better hitters at the top of the lineup. You have people who can field. Someone needs to be able to scoop up a ball and throw it. A beautiful ball down the first base. Like everyone has their things that they're a little bit better than everyone else at. So that's where
Yeah.
you spend most of your time. And I do know I've personally felt it too in different organizational roles I was in where I knew my feet were planted. I could work within this organization and be my best self and still enjoy it because I always had fun even when I was in corporate and I couldn't, I felt like I wasn't in the right place. Still made the most of it. And so I love hearing that you did that. I think a lot of people tuning in right now this conversation is about early entrepreneurship and how Samantha really took this dream and this thing that God planted in her heart, this talent this gift, and she started to use it and utilize it into a way where it blossomed into a beautiful company that's a couple years old now and doing very well. So one of the reasons I wanted you on, Sam, is so other people can see your story and go, why not me? I could do that too, right?
Yeah.
And the idea is they may not be in the right seat right now. Their feet may not be fully into entrepreneurship yet, but
Right.
maybe people are coming to them and saying, you're really good at figuring out how to make everything look good. These emails, you got everybody's footer in the email looking good and email signatures.
Right.
And all of a sudden that's like, maybe you can design them for the team. Our website needs a little tweaking. Our social media, eventually they're like, hey, this person can take full reins, and they didn't hire you for it. Now, I would hope the company would eventually let you fully pivot and,
And do
yeah, do
exactly.
that full time. So that's really cool. And then the other kind of a follow up on my first question, going,
Okay.
and again, this is not like supposed to be scripted. And Samantha, you are not a scripted person. I just have some
That's
notes and things
right.
I want to talk about. So I'm going off script here. I asked you a little bit about influence and entrepreneurship, and if there was a family member. So it doesn't have to be designed, but was there ever someone, or even if it was a movie that you saw, and you're like, I kind of like that whole solopreneur thing because you have that about your persona. I'm wondering if that's just you being you, or if there was a little bit of something that you were guided uh,
Ooh.
through
I
through your
feel
family
like
or anything like that.
I feel like in my family, I was always I was always just able to totally be myself.
That's awesome.
My parents laugh at me because I was born like fast, and from the second I came into the world, I was go go go. They actually nicknamed me Perpetual Motion Personified because I'm just like go go go. And they never tried to stifle that. They would laugh at it. We poke fun at it.
That's an actual
Um,
technical term, like the doctor said that perpetual motion personified.
per- Perpetual Motion
I've never
Personified.
heard of
Yeah.
that before.
That
Nowadays,
it's
everyone would be like, ADD or whatever, right? If you're a
yeah.
little older, but you were just always in motion, keeping busy.
Always in motion. I'm excited
Hmm.
about life. Like it's
Hmm.
just I think life is freaking cool. And everything about it.
Yeah.
So I get excited about how pretty the moss looks on the rock when I'm on a hike or
Hmm.
something. Like I think that I've seen a lot of beauty in very simple things.
Hmm.
And I was never told that I had to sit down and just do the run of the mill things. I was homeschooled for 2 years with my parents, and I have the best memories of them just letting me fully be my crazy self.
Yeah. So shout out to your parents and all the parents listening right now. I'm a parent. Sam, you have a beautiful son and a
Yeah.
beautiful family. And that's important to remember that, like, we don't always, in that question, I was kind of looking to see if there was some kind of guided light. And it was just like the guided light was letting you play in the sandbox and you were able to be you. And your parents, supported that. And even through homeschooling for a
Right.
couple of years, we did that with our daughter, like, because and during COVID and stuff, we just decided we were going to go all in and not even like try to do the half school, half homeschool. We just went all
Yep.
homeschool. Um, but yeah, so they kind of shout out to mom and dad there then because they're the ones that allowed you to be you. And you said something really cool right there about you're excited. And I was just thinking about this earlier today, actually, like not to get morbid, but I think so many people take for granted that we have life and energy and can do the simple things right. On a bad
Absolutely.
day, this BGBG is be great, be grateful. So gratitude comes to me, and unfortunately, I get reminded more of it during a bad moment. I use it as kind of my tool to get
Okay.
me out of a bad headspace. But the idea is to be proactive and wake up in gratitude. And I'm actually creating a gratitude journal, little self promo there. And you also go to sleep with gratitude. So you kind of sandwich your day around it. But you mentioned the word
Yep.
excited, and I thought, oh, that's a different look on just being grateful. That's actually having energy of like, you're just excited to be here in this moment. You talked
Oh, yeah.
about the rocks when you're going on the walks and the hikes, and I know you and your son love to do that, which is really great. Um,
Yeah.
but you mentioned you're in motion all the time, but you also enjoy the moment. I think that's a happy, healthy place to, like, you're always moving, but you don't overlook the beauty that's the now, which is really cool.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to, I never like to let an opportunity pass me by, but I also, and this is corny, I don't want to be corny, but I saw a quote and it said, I don't want to get to the end of my life and have lived the length of it.
Ooh.
I want to have lived the width of it as well.
Yeah.
And I just went,
Right. Yeah, life doesn't need to be a straight line to our gravesite. Like, go explore,
right.
Some people
Explore
think the world's flat. Some people know that it's round. But, hey, we're not going to go there. It's not a conspiracy show. Go explore the damn thing. Find out that it's not flat, all right?
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Create your own spaceship and launch yourself into space and see that it's a globe. And then come back and then tell the rest of your buddies that it's a globe. We went there. We went there. What else can we talk about real quick and rustle some feathers? Here,
about it.
I know we're going to have a full conversation on branding. That's who you are. You are a brand specialist. But I didn't want to start the conversation just like, all right, tell me about branding here. And we're going to take some notes on anybody who's tuning in there in the university. But I do want to talk about it because that is who you are. So from my experience, just to share real quick, I worked with small businesses at the beginning of when Social Chameleon was not a podcast agency like it is today. Oh my God, you're rocking the BGBG mug. Look at that. First guest, I think, that had it ready to go for recording. Awesome. But yeah, so when I started Social Chameleon, we were not into podcasting yet. We were actually doing a little bit of branding and marketing, like how Manna made kind of shifted into that as well. Because as you and I know, we're both in the Buffalo and Western New York region. There's a lot of small businesses who need help with branding. So I was going in with other things, and then I'm like, oh my God, like, why does your logo look like that? And like, I don't know. We've been around since the 1800s. It's like my great-great-grandfather. Like, you don't know why there's a Quaker in your logo? Like, do you even want it in your logo? Most of the time they don't, or they're ready for a rebrand like last century. So you're nodding your head, and guys, if you're listening and not watching on YouTube, Samantha's nodding her head because that is what we deal with a lot. And a lot of businesses fail with their branding because you know what they do? They marry branding and marketing, and they think they're almost the same thing. They don't even know how to decipher the two. So can you explain what goes into creating a dynamic brand?
Yes. Oh, I love this. So I've had it a lot of times. People seem to overlook that a logo matters. They don't want to spend the money on it. They're like, I'll find a clip art from Google and throw it on there and it's fine. Drives crazy. Yeah. But a logo, which really is the first building block of the look of your brand, the actual tangible. So it's going to pull. Colors matter to people. They make you feel different things. Different fonts make you feel different ways. It creates a feeling to people, and that feeling is how they feel about your company. So when you are going into creating a dynamic brand and something that's going to speak to people, you have to think about who you want to talk to. Who are the clients that you want to reach, that you want to work with and deal with within your business? That's going to decide what colors you use, what font you use, the type of photos you use, or if it's just super simplistic and just words like Nike, And you notice really
too, Sam, like the bigger the brand, the more simple the logo it seems, because over years they've started with their whole name in it, and then like part of the word has a symbol in it, and then all of a sudden they're known as the symbol now, like Pepsi. You don't even have to say the word Pepsi. You just throw that red, white, and blue logo, boom. Target, it's a symbol, right? So, sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack you, but yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it really, and I think part of that comes into when you make it that simplistic, all of a sudden you can put it on so many more things. If you have 6 colors in your logo, you can't necessarily make it all black to put on a white polo or vice versa. there's something beautiful about the simplicity of it, that you can almost morph it to be on anything you want and any color you want.
Yeah.
But I mean, some businesses don't bode well to that. I just created a logo for it's a Southwestern Caribbean food company. Having a simplistic black and white logo would not speak to what that business is and what that company is. It needs to have the bright red and orange and yellow and the greens and the dancing and the tree. It has to have that feeling, which I think people, like I said, will overlook.
Yeah.
But it's what everything in your business moving forward is going to pull from.
Yeah.
You're going to pull your business cards. You're going to pull your website. You're going to pull any clothing that you create. You're going to pull the signs for your company, any mailers that you do, and you can go on and on and on. Everything pulls back to that logo, the colors that you chose, and what that looks like.
Yeah. And how many times have we seen, my initials are MD. So if I started my branding company and didn't want to go with something fun like Social Chameleon, which I spent time thinking through cool names that meant something to me and could be work with designing, MD marketing. Like, come on, dude. Like, really? Like, I could just see myself standing there at the Orange Park Chamber of Commerce with my MD marketing sign. And you see so many people do this, and it's just, I don't understand. Have fun with a brand. It's like you just talked about.
Right.
The world is there for you to play with. Like, you have the palette of anything in your brain, and you come up with your initials that you didn't even choose yourself, and now you're locked into it. I actually learned a little. This is a little insight that's kind of random, but it's applicable to design or to branding, I should say. You know why a lot of companies are ABC Plumbing or ABC Dental or whatever? Do you know why that is?
Why?
Because everyone was fighting for the first couple pages in the phone book, and it was alphabetical. So that's why originally when I got into branding, I'm like, why are there all these ABC companies? This is so lame. It's the worst name ever. Maybe I could see like a learning center be ABC because it would be building blocks would be a cool logo. But it was like dentist, it was plumbing, I was like, what the hell? And then I found out it was because of the phone book. So guess what, guys? Phone books are relevant, so maybe time for a rebrand.
I was going to say, now you're really dating.
Now you're really dating it. What you just said there, I'm not going to just steamroll through. You said some really beautiful things there with a brand, simplicity, and it's like playing chess when other people are playing checkers. And what I mean by that is you're talking about designing a logo. Think of the Nike swoosh. How's that going to look on a polo shirt, a hat, a flyer, all the different places in the corner of my website? If I got this giant logo, like you said, with 19 different colors in it, it's very difficult for that to pop. It has to be a perfect, solid background, and it's just too busy. So there's something about simplicity. The other thing is, it has to have meaning. I think you said feeling too. Like it's how you feel. So I just mentioned, the Target logo. There's a lot of people who love shopping at Target. You see that logo, you're thinking, I get excited. I'm going to get some new stuff. I need whatever it might be. And you just have a good experience. I love it. You know why I love it? I'm a huge coffee drinker, and I can get my Starbucks. That's why I like to go to Target. So when Isabel says, hey, Dad, can we stop in Target real quick and get something on the way home? I'm like, you better believe we're going because we're going to Starbucks. You're going to sit in line for 5 minutes. Yeah. That's your thank you. And that's our little give and take there, right? Compromise. So,
absolutely.
But it could be anything, and there's colors that go into it. I'm sure you know this, like red and yellow McDonald's is a choice based on people's,
the feeling. Yeah,
their feeling. They get hungry. Yeah. So there's a lot more to it than just it looks good, So that was really great answer. And I want to tell you something. On air, I'm putting myself out there saying this. We're in the middle of a little rebrand going on at Social Chameleon. Yeah. I don't know if you saw the new, it's not really a logo. I just kind of did some artwork. I used AI and I kind of tweaked it a little bit. Yeah. I was playing in the sandbox. And I came up with something I really like, but what I need to do is turn that idea into a logo. Because it's a picture of a chameleon, very bright colors, with headphones on and a microphone. And it's representing the brand because before we didn't have that. We weren't doing podcasting. Right. So we're transitioning. So if you know someone who's really good at logo design, you know what I'm saying? Point me in the right direction, will
I
you?
don't know. I'll make a couple calls.
As you say, you've said this to me a couple times. And I love it. I'm tracking. I know you say that. I'm
Tracking. Yeah,
tracking.
that
So
is my.
I'm tracking. I was paying attention to your story when you told it to me over the years. Commercial real estate. You also mentioned that you were doing financial planning,
Yeah,
and then transitioned into what your heart space was, which was the design element of it.
yeah.
How did you get into commercial real estate, and what kind of properties are you? Are you still slinging? You're doing it
I
now,
do.
right? Like you're
I
active.
do.
So
Yeah.
so tell us about this.
Okay. Yeah. Like I said, I don't ever like to let any opportunities pass me by.
Mm.
So I like to make sure that I am licensed and trained in a lot of arenas.
Would the doctor
And
call you perpetual motion something?
perpetual motion. Yeah.
Yeah.
I never liked going to school, but I oddly love to learn.
Mm.
So figure that one out. Who knows? But I have a friend who owns a brokerage, 716 Realty Group brokerage right here, born and raised in Buffalo.
Okay.
And we've been friends for a long time, going on probably like 10, 11 years. And he would always post these things about real estate. And I would always nag him. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love that. I love houses. I love design, more in like the actual architecture and the look of the home is what I get drawn to. I get right brain.
Yeah.
And so I would always nag him. He goes, why don't you just get your license already? And you can design all your just posted things. You can do some setups and design. And it was right at the beginning of COVID, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was home all the time. I'm like, well, this is perfect. I can do it right on my computer and learn everything. So I put right into bed and I would do my trainings and got my license. Once I got my license, I realized that I loved the commercial space. Something about it, I think it ties back to that love of the love of entrepreneurs. I was terrified to be an entrepreneur, but I've always loved entrepreneurs. It's part of what I love so much about logos is hearing what's going on in their head, what their passion is, what's been put on their heart.
Yeah.
And like pulling it out of there, getting it on paper and like watching it become what it's destined to become.
Right.
So like it kind of married my love of real estate and architectural, like the look of that, and working with these businesses to kind of bring it together. Oh, you're starting a business. Do you have the space for your business? What are you looking for? And how can we kind of bring them together?
Yeah, that's awesome. So are you literally like evaluating, there might be like a strip mall or something that's open and you're kind of trying to fill that and get some people involved that way? Or is it also like apartment units and stuff like that? Because that's considered commercial too, isn't it? Like if you had like a 500 unit place, it's like a big rental facility or something, right? Complex.
Yeah.
So
I've
that's all
actually
fair game?
It's all fair game. I'm currently in the works right now. I have a client who really wants to open and run their own event space and restaurant. So I've been kind of traveling all over, looking for waterfront spaces for that for him. I have another client that's looking for like photo space. I might just buy some properties. I'm working with a property management company right now that he does corporate relocation. So he needs the apartments and the housing for that. So looking into some spaces where we could actually just own that rather than trying to link them up with somebody else. We just link them with ourselves,
Yeah. Being strategic about the opportunity right there. That's awesome.
Exactly. How many middlemen can you cut out?
Right.
It's kind of the name of the game, right?
Yeah. One less chef in the kitchen, if you will.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So it oddly, people tend to think I'm all over. they're like, oh my God, you're all over the place. But when you actually write it down on paper, it's funny how they've all kind of married back into what
It's a
Manna
spider
is.
web. Like you're not a two-dimensional character. You're like four-dimensional, and that's what I love about you. All right, you get this bonus gear that other people just don't have. Podcasting is a great way to engage with your audience and stay consistently relevant. The only problem is you don't have the time or desire to produce your own show. You simply want it done for you, and that's where Social Chameleon comes in. All you need to do is press record and upload the files. We'll handle the rest. From planning, production, post-production, distribution, and digital marketing, we have you covered. We realize that times are tough and funds are tight, and Social Chameleon believes in building supportive business relationships. By clicking on the link in this promo, we'll provide you 7 free podcasting tips to get started, as well as a free 30-minute online consultation. This is the perfect opportunity for entrepreneurs, keynote speakers, industry experts, influencers, and anybody who has a personal brand. With Social Chameleon, we help you build a brand that is out of this world. We're ready and waiting, so what are you waiting for? Click on the link to get started today. Hey guys, it's Mike. I'd like to give a proper shout out to Navigator Bookkeeping. Look, for a long time, I ran my business without really understanding the full financial picture. I used my gut and my bank account balance to make decisions, which led to some poor choices and constant stress over my business's finances. I knew something needed to change. At the beginning of 2021, I made a decision that helped pave a more clear path for my business. I started working with Navigator Bookkeeping. Since then, my bookkeeping has been handled for me. I now understand the full financial story of my business, making important financial decisions much easier now, and it helps me plan for where my business is going. I highly recommend giving Navigator Bookkeeping an opportunity to help your business. Check them out at navigatingyourbooks.com. Again, that's navigatingyourbooks.com. It's time to know the full financial story of your business. All right, we're back in action with Samantha Rae Hughes. Remember, you can connect with her on social media. I got that clickable in the show notes. Her website's there as well. You can check out what she's got going on. There's a lot more that, believe it or not, we didn't even get to yet. So we're going to keep rocking this thing so you guys get to know Samantha. And chances are at the end of this conversation, we're not going to end up getting to everything. And so maybe there's a 2.0 conversation in the near future. I'm inviting you on. You have a lifetime pass, by the way.
I love it.
To
I'm
be
going
on
to take
Micah.
advantage.
I mean, you look like the design. This is your baby. I didn't even have this prepared, but like when we met for coffee a couple years ago, I think we were just notebooking the idea of mic'd up and merch and what we kind of came up with maybe 5 or 6 sayings that we liked.
Yes.
And I want to say that was maybe a Saturday, and I think by Monday, guys. And I'm not trying to overset your expectations so clients think you're a 2-day turnaround. But by Monday, I think we had stuff like mocked up on a website. I'm not even kidding you. So it was pretty cray. You were like, I just couldn't believe it. I was like pinching myself. Like, is this real? Like the universe just solved this gap. I didn't have a clue about doing merchandise. I had a design idea. Like, I got the concept, but I had no idea how to do merch. And you were just like, don't worry, I'll do it for you. It was awesome. All right. So in addition to you being an amazing human and having all these beautiful gifts and talents, I also want to highlight that you're killing it as a mompreneur. We talked a little bit about Bray so far. I've seen this from afar, Sam, and I want you to know like that I see the bond that you guys have, and it's super special. And you're doing everything, like as you're doing everything else, you're still very present. There's that theme again coming back. So I want you to speak to the mompreneurs tuning in, and I'm a dadpreneur, so guys like myself. And I want you to speak on balancing it. And I know you're laughing right now because you're like, yeah, okay. But how do you? Yeah, I'm making you answer this one. How do you draw a line between business and family time, and especially now with you working from home? How do you balance all that?
So it's setting timers. So I work fully remote from home. I homeschool my son. So we are both in this house all day long together. And it is so very easy to all of a sudden be working 10 hours rather than like a normal work day because things just linger. So setting a timer of like, okay, it's 4 o'clock. You need to go outside for a walk and fully detach.
Mm-hmm.
And then if there are little things that we have to catch up on or do, fine. But setting an alarm to alert yourself, like, yes, you have been working for 8 hours already, and
Mm-hmm.
you need to be aware of that. So that's one thing. But also, and as they get older, so my son is 12, as you know,
Mm-hmm.
which makes this a little bit easier. But even when he was a little younger, I always involved him. And that has been huge. So like when I was studying for my Series 7, which is the big financial exam,
Mm-hmm.
he would be 2 years old, sitting on my lap, reading this like 300-page financial book with me. I was like,
Yeah.
Mommy's studying, you're studying too, dude. Here we go. And like it became almost a game with us. And
Uh-huh.
I was like, okay, so when I passed, like he thought he passed too. Like
Yeah.
he was so
That's
excited.
so cool.
And I would bring him to my financial office when I worked there and did the stuff, and he would help me pack things for the events that we were doing, and he would help me make copies and scan things. Now working from home, he helps me make logos sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I'll let him get in there. I'm like, these are the parameters. What would you create, bud? And I'll let his creativity just blossom and like pull things in. So it honestly, it not only brings us closer because it's kind of that bond of fun, but he's involved in my work
Yeah.
and he takes pride. Like I told him that I was recording for a podcast and he's like, are you gonna be on Apple Music? Like, are you on YouTube? He's like, oh my, like it's so exciting for him
Yeah.
to see Animate grow because he knows that
He
he's a
saw
part.
an idea in a notebook. Yeah, when he was sitting on
Right.
your lap.
And he's been so involved in every bit of it. He's come to some business meetings with me. I'm like, guys, I'm sorry, but like before I could leave him home alone, like I can't. He's got to come, and he knows that like he sits and he'll draw and he'll listen. Um, so I think a really big key is letting, like as an entrepreneur, let your kids, not necessarily that they have to design logos with you.
Yeah.
He has an interest in it. So I
Right.
let him, but letting them into your world
Yeah.
like is so important as a mompreneur, and a dadpreneur. I know you do the same thing. You've
Mm-hmm.
had your daughter recording and showing herself on the screen, and
Right.
they just let them into your world.
Yeah. I
I
think.
think is the biggest thing.
Yeah, that is
And they'll
so
let you
awesome.
down. You don't need to stop because
Mm-hmm.
they're excited to be doing it too. So you get more work done and they're happy. And that's just a win-win.
I think too, Samantha, what you said is really big in the idea of timing. I've worked with a couple
Yeah.
different coaches. They all have the idea of block your day. But the thing is, like you and I know, we'll schedule maybe a Zoom call with someone. We're getting to know them. It could be a prospecting call. It could be an existing client. We're doing some work with them. So we have a meeting.
Yeah.
And when that meeting's scheduled, that's where we are. We're present in the moment at that meeting. But then a lot of times, myself included, will say, I want to read a book today, one chapter, and you'll put it in your to-do list, but that doesn't get done until all your client work gets done. But had
Yeah.
it been scheduled in there just the same with the same value, and it is valuable because what you're going to learn reading that chapter is going to help you be a better person personally and in your business. So if you're not doing it, you're kind of limiting your growth. And so why not value it the same as working on that email or whatever, right? So I'm
Well,
preaching to myself right now, by the way, because I need to
amen.
get better. Amen. Amen, sister.
Woo-hoo.
But
Yes.
I like, and then the other thing too, I just want to hit on that you said instead of drawing a line and trying to have family on this side of the line and business on the other, it's not a line. It's I'm working on this stuff right now. He's working on his schoolwork, so you can get it done together. And then when you
Right.
are both physically in the same room or environment or whatever that looks like, you can kind of show him, hey, this is what I'm working on. And then you're listening and following along. If he likes it, incorporate him more into it. If his interest level is like nil, then you'll be like, cool. The next time that comes around, I'm not going to bother him with it because he's not cool.
Right.
Really great
Precise.
parenting awareness and just in general. I'm not surprised that you with that answer, but I kind of wanted to hear it because I know you are that Swiss Army knife. And um,
So cool.
I got to ask you this, Sam. So if
What's that?
you could just kind of pause reality, like imagine that. Doesn't that feel kind of
All right.
cool for a second? You can pause so you can come back to it whenever you want. And you get
Okay.
14 days to live. Well, everyone else is like, what are you doing?
Okay.
Where are you going? What's your 14-day getaway look like?
This will not at all surprise you. I would be on a beach.
Yep.
I would be on a
I got that
beach.
one right. Palm
I
trees.
would be, there is something for me, and I know like everybody loves the beach. I like going to the ocean. It's almost a cliche thing. For me, it's like a spiritual experience.
Hmm.
Like we pull up and my parents get giggling because we pull up and the second that I see the water, I was like, your entire body, you just go like there's a calm, there's a relax. She thinks it's because I'm so go, go, go and fiery that like the water is my even
Yeah.
keel. It kind of brings me back. But I get my best ideas walking the beach, listening to the waves, just like zoning out, walking the beach. And I will have like an entire notebook page.
It just downloads to
Oh,
your soul, right?
it
Yeah.
does. It really does. So yeah, for me, it's not about like, ooh, laying out and tanning. It's like it's a reconnect
Hmm.
and disconnect from everything else. Even if I'm doing a meeting on a beach,
Yeah.
it's a different
It's
vibe.
like the word that came to mind when you said it was experience. Like you're experiencing. It's like the branding. It's how it makes you feel. It's the beach. It's how it makes you feel. It's not necessarily
Yeah,
the benefits that come with it. Like, oh, I got a tan, or the fact I'm not doing
business.
anything right now. It's yeah. I definitely feel that. I think we have that in similar. And like I
Yeah.
don't know if it's just being from Buffalo, and yeah, we got like the waterfront starting to come alive a little bit more in the last couple of years, but it's definitely not like the same as Ocean City atmosphere, or
No.
Myrtle Beach, or Tampa Bay or something like that, where you can really feel with the beach or Clearwater. You get the point. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
surprised in that answer, but I think it's important. And then little birdie told me, I did a little homework. I saw you on another show that you were talking about with your commercial real estate that you're looking to possibly get into some stuff down south, maybe Florida. Is that what I was tracking?
Yeah. So I am pre-approved for both South Carolina and Florida right now. So when the right one hits the market, I have all of my alerts set. And I'm looking on the daily. When the right one hits the market, that will be gobbled up.
Yeah.
And game plan is that we still stay around this area, visit when we can, Airbnb it out, kind of recoup some of that initial money that went into
Smart.
it.
Yep.
And then make the official move down and either just keep Airbnbing it to have
Yeah.
some money and live
Why
in
the
our
heck
own
not?
house
Yeah,
down
it'd be
here.
silly
But
not to.
exactly,
That's awesome.
exactly.
Where do you have
So,
a place in Myrtle, did you say? Or South Carolina?
yep. So North Myrtle Beach. We
North.
actually
Okay.
spent a month there during COVID. I said, why am I working remotely in my house in the snow? I should work remotely in my house with a view of the ocean. So me and my family
That's
rented
amazing.
a house for a full month down in South Carolina and said we're working remotely from the ocean and would work every day and then go down to the beach every day and just like fell in love with it.
Yeah.
Fell in love with it. It's a cool area.
Just you explaining that, I just felt a little bit of the release of tension. Just because I've been down there. I did Myrtle Beach 3 years in a row with when I was in high school. My girlfriend
Okay.
and her family invited me, and they treated me great. They were like we all were like family. 3 years in a row, but it was a little bit more in like the hustle bustle of Myrtle Beach and kind of the party life of
Okay.
it, which was fun when I was 17, 18, 19 years old, or 16,
Right.
17, 18. It was fun. But now going back, all right, mid 30s, okay, put me on a timeline here, folks. I just want to go and chill now. Give me a cup of coffee and a book. Yeah.
It's one of the things I love. We go to Ocean City, New Jersey every year.
Hmm.
And not everybody loves this. I love this. It is still a dry county. So there are no bars, there's no alcohol. You can like buy it outside and bring it in if you want to sip some wine, but you don't get the party people. Like you go on the
Right.
beach and families that are literally all just there to relax and enjoy the water. So it honestly it takes out that hustle and bustle
Yeah.
and craziness of it.
Right. Everyone's showing their car because there's the traffic's not moving, so they're basically just,
Right.
and that's fun. Look, I'm not like that's cool, but that's that's not what we're talking
It's
about when we're talking
different.
about escaping to South Carolina at this point. Um,
Exactly. Yeah. No desire. Thank you, though. Yeah.
Now we're gonna hop in the DeLorean and we're gonna go
Ooh,
back in time for a moment. Let's go back.
I like it. I like it.
Normally, I like to do things in chronological order. I'm breaking all kinds of rules today for you. All right. But what I
I
want you to
love
do
it.
is take me back to 10-year-old Samantha. All right. And if she got to meet you today, what do you think she would say? And I'll tell you why I ask. What do you think she would think of you?
She would probably be real surprised. Um, 10-year-old, we're going to be full disclosure here. 10-year-old Samantha had a brush cut.
Whoa.
Hey, yo, wore hot pink spandex, like pants and gloves that I made with my mom on the sewing machine.
Do you have
And like,
pictures of this that I can add in post production? All right. Well, if they're approved, I'm going to add these in for you guys on YouTube.
oh, I'm like turning red. It's so funny. And I would blast Elton John, which I still do. Hey, yo. Elton John, Crocodile Rock,
Okay.
and rollerblade up and down my driveway.
That's
Like
awesome.
not.
Yeah.
So, yeah. She would probably be very surprised that I have on like red lipstick
Mm-hmm.
and mascara and
And a
that my hair
blazer
is, like
sometimes.
halfway
Yeah.
down my back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She'd be like, what? Who is
It,
uh
here's the reason I bring it up, though, is because I feel like at 10, we're not totally, like, we're not mature yet, right? But we're also, it's not even a
right.
maturity thing from like a physical maturity. It's more like the mental maturity of like reality hasn't beaten us up yet. Call that society, call that what we get from school, like, oh, be a
Yeah.
dentist, a doctor, this or that, and kind of like we're told what good jobs look like. We're
Yeah.
told we need to know Spanish as a second language, so everybody's got to take that. And I ended up taking French anyways. And then eventually they allowed me to
Oh,
play an instrument, and they called that, they literally like checked that box that it was a foreign language. I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. Music's
sweet.
the universal language. I love it. Yeah, let's go.
Amen.
So I bring this up because at 10, our big
Yeah.
dreams haven't been beaten out of us yet. So I was curious. You're someone who has this awesome energy of dreaming. And I was just curious, like, where you're at today and where that 10-year-old version of yourself, what you would think. But at the
Oh,
same
with
time, let me finish my
energy.
thought. I remember being 10, and I think I wanted to be like a detective and a Major League Baseball player because I loved, like, Derek Jeter was just, like, blowing up in the big leagues, like, when I was 10. It was
Yeah.
1996, and that's when they won the first World Series. So that was kind of my thing, which obviously I didn't pursue playing Major League
I
Baseball.
wanted to be a model and a famous singer. I was
Oh, okay.
always Baby Spice from the Spice Girls.
Uh-huh.
That was my persona.
Yeah.
So
Do you ever bust it out at karaoke night?
um
All the time. Yeah.
Spice Girls and No Doubt.
No
Yeah.
doubt. Heck yeah. I
I
love No
was
Doubt.
so jealous of Gwen when she married Gavin Rossdale. Gavin Rod I had a dog tag that
Mhm.
had like Bush band logo on it. I wore it religiously. Like
Virtual Fist Bump. Bush was one of my
yeah.
favorite bands, and I always loved like Gavin was just the coolest dude. Like when I was,
Well,
I
hold
think we
on.
were like pretty similar in age, right? So yeah, they were like Bush was cool. Their first two albums, I don't know what the heck happened to them. They kind of like disappeared and whatever. But I don't understand the whole like when Gwen was with. Are they still together? What's his name? the country.
Gwen and Gavin?
No, the
Or
country guy,
no,
Blake.
now she's
Blake
going to
Shelton.
Blake Shelton.
Right,
Yep.
and that's been for years now. But when that first happened, and they got a thing, they got a little magic going, whatever. It's cool to
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
But like it was her with Gavin just made so much more sense to me in the universe. But anyway,
Yeah, I mean, it
we're
was
way
my kid.
off. Yeah,
That would have made far more sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome though. Yeah, I rock out some. I actually played No Doubt the other day for Isabel because I wanted to. I'm encouraging her in different ways. So I'll play music with a female singer. I gotta be careful what it is, obviously, but like she's
Yeah.
been listening to like the Kids Bop with her mom or whatever. Like there's
Okay.
different numbers. I never
Yeah.
got into that. Obviously, like I was listening to Chili Peppers
No.
when I was like 6 years old. Weezer,
Yeah.
Green Day, Oasis. You know,
Wow.
my parents were pretty cool. It's almost like they didn't know what they didn't know. Like my mom bought me
Yeah.
like a Rage Against the Machine CD when I was in 5th grade that
Wow.
she had no clue what was on that record. But
Yep.
I think I turned out okay. But so my point is with Isabel, I'm trying to introduce cool stuff with her that's like I'm not saying you have to be a singer or you want to do this, but hey, check it out. Like chicks can get up there and do their thing too, or I'll show her at worship night. Like most of the singers at worship night are female. So it's like I've had her come up on stage like when I've done worship drums like after and I have her stand next to the keyboard because she was taking a little keyboard lessons and just get the
Wow.
perspective like this reality that you could be here.
Right.
So
Like it's a different viewpoint when you're actually up on the stage for sure.
yeah, and it's kind of like connecting those dots. So that's really
Yeah.
cool. Thank you for sharing a little bit of your backstory because I was curious about that. And we're going back in the DeLorean again. You're not done. I'm not done with you yet, Sam.
All right, here we
So we
go.
cover a lot of comeback stories, heartfelt stories, perseverance on this podcast. So I don't know if you know where I'm going with this one, but if I remember correctly, now I have a couple concussions in my life, so my memory's not the best. But do you not have a tattoo that says the word miracle?
I do.
Would you like to share the story of why?
Yeah. So when I was a year and a half old, my parents found out I had meningitis. And it wasn't so bacterial, you can actually treat with medications. Viral, as you know, like with any viruses, you can't treat them, you have to let them run their course.
Right.
So I had viral meningitis at the age of a year and a half old and was hospitalized in Children's Hospital. And after a day, I was like completely incapacitated. I couldn't eat, I couldn't talk, I wasn't moving. And they ran some tests and they had the grief counselors come in and talk to my parents. And they said, I'm sorry to inform you of this, but your daughter only has a 0.001% chance of surviving this. So we really need you to prepare yourself, have people come say goodbye. They said in that 0.001% chance, should that magical miracle happen, she will never walk again. That wasn't a question.
Yeah.
That wasn't she might not. It was, she will never walk again. On top of that, she will either be mentally or physically handicapped in other ways and potentially lose her hearing at an early age. He said, so 99.99%, she's not leaving this hospital.
Yeah.
And you will be burying your daughter. If that doesn't happen, she'll never walk and she'll be mentally handicapped and have other physical ailments.
Did your parents have strong faith before they got that news?
Yes. Yeah, I grew up in the church.
Okay.
My nickname is Manna because my brother came home from church school the day not the day I was born, the day I came home, and said, oh, she is just like manna straight from heaven. And it just, so they did have a strong faith. I think that tested it a bit. There's that anger aspect that comes along with anything going on with your child, as you know. But my mom said that she just sat there. She said, and they told me that most parents would cry or would be upset. She said, I prayed and then I laughed and said, that's nice that you think that.
Wow.
and was just like,
Talk
good for
about
you
real
for
faith.
thinking that. But you are men that are,
Doing your
you
job.
read right. You're doing your job and you read a book and I respect you, but you can't tell me what's going to happen with my daughter, is
Wow.
essentially what she said.
I do believe
Um,
in the fact that her mentality had a lot to do with reality too. I do believe in like the law of attraction as well, combined
oh,
with God. I believe in God myself
yeah.
and have a lot of faith, but I also believe that is part of the law of attraction. And
It,
when we do the actions that our faith allows us to do, and we mean it, the
they'll,
likelihood I feel of things happening are more. You have to take action. So she obviously went through everything she
oh,
had to deal with. But
yeah.
this story, I know you shared it with me a couple years ago, and thank you for sharing that. I know that's tough on the show. But yeah, you are a miracle. 0.0001% chance. And look at where Samantha is today, everybody. Did you miss the last hour here? Like you are just an amazing energy, and I believe that the fact that you were nearly life was taken away from you at such a young age
Mhm.
that once it was not taken away, I believe God was like, we're going to fill her up with more life than she's going to know what to do with. And I think that's all part of it. Like, because you literally have the energy of like 6 people. I just absolutely love it.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
So,
I feel blessed every second. So,
yeah. And
yep.
wow. And so I can also tell, I haven't had the honor of meeting your parents, but it seems like you guys are really close throughout everything now.
They are hands down like my best friends. They're first people I call when something goes right, first people I call when something goes wrong.
Hmm.
We take weekend trips, we go on hikes, we have family game nights. I just yeah, they are a blend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's all. It's super important. It's super
oh,
important.
very
And
much so.
yeah, I mean, I want to go into the negative here, but my dad passed away in 2020, and I didn't really get a chance to even say goodbye to him. So, whenever I see someone who still has their, both their parents or one parent, and they have a great relationship, it's so special.
It's
And I'm saying it on the show, guys. Like, if you have a mom or dad right now, and you're, on good terms, which I hope you are, and if you're not, see what you can do to fix that, because life is not forever. And
right.
remember to pick up that phone or just have that opportunity to tell them you love them. I didn't know I was going to go there with this, but that's such an
Hey,
incredible story, a miracle story, and thank you for sharing that on the show.
you are? Yes, absolutely.
So, a couple more things. I know I got you for a minute here. Captive, because once you go, she's gone, man. You can't track her. So your merch is awesome. You have awesome style. People can see that if that know you and are watching right now. Especially the Maritime line. I want to know more about this. I think we all can kind of connect the dots where it comes from. But can you share why? Like that was kind of your leading line of your merchandise was the Maritime merch. Can
Yeah,
you share like what inspired that, and then also just talk about it. Talk about that merch. I mean, it's
yeah.
really cool stuff you got going on.
I have
It
fun with
looks
it.
great. Like it looks really professionally done. I mean, it looks amazing.
Mhm. So as we
It's
talked
almost like
about,
she
and
knows what she's doing.
oh, maybe. Uh, so I've always loved the beach. I've always loved the ocean. Um, I mean, like my entire life. So for me, I've always really been drawn to anchors,
Yeah.
which is weird, but hey, is what it is. And puns. I am a pun lover
Yeah.
nonstop. They make me laugh. And so when I first started Animate, I honestly thought that all I was going to do was like fun maritime and Christian merchandise, and that was
Yeah.
going to be it. That
Which would have
quickly
been
more
cool and perfectly fine,
right,
but God was like, no, no, no. That's thinking too small for you, Sam.
right,
Yeah.
total detour.
Right.
But yeah, I kind of just started to think of funny sayings and think of funny like nautical and maritime puns And then as soon as I would think of the pun, like my brain would just naturally kind of create, whatever animal it should go with
Or
or
design, yeah.
whatever.
Give us an example. I can even show one up
Yeah.
on the screen when you say it too.
Ooh, the one, well, it's not a pun, but people love it. It's just the "Don't Be Crabby" shirt.
Yeah.
People are obsessed with. My favorite is, it says "happier than a seagull with a French fry," and it has cute seagull, and his mouth is full of French fries, and he's adorable. And it just makes you smile.
That's so funny because
Like,
everybody knows that moment when you see a seagull finally get one, and yeah, there's nothing happier than a seagull with the French fry.
yes.
That is perfect.
Well, like I love that one. And then there's just like the sweet things. It's like "seize the day," but it's like SEAS.
Right.
And it has like the waves on it, or "ride the waves."
Yeah.
So I always, whenever someone orders merch, I have a little note that goes out to it. It's like, "Go make waves and God bless." Like,
that's really
make
cool.
some freaking
Personal
waves in
touch.
your life. Yeah, absolutely. So a
Maybe
bunch
we'll
of
work that
different.
into the title of this episode: "Making Waves in Design."
Um,
Something like that. All right.
Right.
Are you tracking?
Done.
I'm tracking.
Package.
All right. So we've gotten to this point. You obviously are doing a lot of things right, and I want to I've complimented a few things, and I don't want your ego to just explode here. So what I want you to do, let's put it for good, Sam. So there's a lot of early entrepreneurs tuning in, and they're hearing your story and getting inspired by, hey, Samantha did it. I want to do it in my own way. Not the exact same thing, but their own version of their business. So what are some of the things you feel you did well that if you recommend that they replicate, like what does that look like?
I think to honestly take the time to write it, outline your whole business. Like I never wrote a full business plan because that's daunting,
Right.
and terrifying.
Takes the fun out of it for sure.
It does. It really
But
does.
it's also necessary.
Out kind of your game plan. Like, what is it that you want to do? What is it that, like, why? Why are you doing it?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think if you can't key into your why, that when those bad days come, those hard days come, you have an upset client, which all of a sudden, when it's your business, is personal. Now it's personal to you. You'll run. You'll run and you'll go back to your corporate job and, oh, I can't do this. But if you understand your why do you want to create this? You can kind of push through that because you know why you did it and you know why you're going to continue to do it.
Yeah.
And so I think that really, really knowing my why, like to my core, it's like I started there and I dabbled in it, but stayed in corporate. And then it was just, my soul was like, you know why? And now you're just insulting me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The leap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's there. The energy was there. You just had to follow it. Like it was waiting for you to say, like, I'm still here. Like I didn't go anywhere.
Oh,
that little nudge, I call it a heart tug. You get those. That's how I started Mic'd Up. It was a heart tug. I didn't know how to do a podcast. I started it just by YouTubing it. And then now I have an agency and I've helped dozens of people launch a podcast. 5 years ago, if you told me that, I would have been like, why am I the guy doing that? Like, I don't know. But it's totally become my thing. And it's like weird to even think that it wasn't my thing. It feels like it's always been my thing. So, yeah, it's amazing how God works and puts the right things in our life. The stepping stones are always there. We don't always see them, is how I kind of think about it. They become, and the more like you hang out with the right people, I feel like they are all like lights. And then they're like shining more lights on more stepping stones. And you're like, I get it. And you hang out with the wrong people or the wrong influences, the lights are shut down. And you're like, now I'm guessing. Now I could fall into the deep blue ocean and be completely off track.
Yeah.
So now I just keep laughing every time I say the word track or tracking. But I love it. I got one more for you. It's a little bit. Actually, no, I got a couple more for you. One of them disappeared.
Deal.
I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna go off script here. So we talked about God a bunch, and I'm super comfortable doing that. We talk about God on the show from time to time. It's not necessarily a Christian show. If you're not Christian, you're listening to this, cool. I just ask you to do your homework before you decide or whatever. All right.
Yeah.
So everybody has their ability to believe, and so if you don't believe, we're just asking you to be open-minded with what we just shared, and go back and listen to that story about when Samantha was a little girl, and I don't know how you don't believe after that point. So here's why I bring it up again is I know that God is your compass, Sam, and I love that you have Colossians 3:23 on your website. It's right there for everybody to go, what's that about? I actually Googled it because I wanted to make sure I got it right. And the quote right from the Bible is, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters. So
Oh, I goosebumps. Oh,
I
I love it.
know. And when I read that, I go, oh my God, that's Samantha. Boom. That is Manna. That's Manna made. So elaborate on how that's been your guide and your mentality. And I think we pretty much know, but I'd love to hear it in your own words.
Yeah. So that it actually came up very fast. I remember the exact moment that I found that verse. I like 3 or 4 years ago kind of got that itch that I think I want to start my own business. I never thought I would go full time with it, but I wanted to like start one. And I was in the airport traveling back from Texas back to New York.
Mm-hmm.
And sitting in the airport waiting for my plane, I was like, ooh, C, like SEA. I was like C23 because I love alliteration. And I'm like in the ocean and the sea, and that works. And 23 has always just kind of been like my number for some reason. Like C23, that could work. And I was drawing up some sketches and I was like, ooh, I didn't read my verse of the day yet. And so I got on my Bible app to read the verse of the day, and the verse of the day was Colossians 3:23.
Oh my God.
And I went, see, Colossians 23. And it was like, whatever you do, work at it. And I got like full body goosebumps. And I was like, oh my
It's a God
gosh.
wink right there. Yeah.
I was like, okay, like this is going to be like because I mean, I've been this wild and passionate my whole life. We've mentioned that a few times on the show, but I feel like it was always kind of built into me, making the logos and doing things and helping business owners and people with volunteering. But I was always working for someone else. Like the CEO at my finance company told me what I could say, couldn't say in a social media capacity and stuff, because they have to walk a fine line, what religiously, politically, all of that. So it was always, I was working for someone else that was directing kind of what I could and couldn't say. And I always had to walk the middle line so I didn't upset anybody.
They were the captain of the ship and it wasn't the right captain.
Right. And so that just kind of, that really hit home of, as soon as I started Manna Made, I posted on my Facebook that I was like, I have always walked the line because I never wanted to turn away business from the businesses I was working for. Now I've worked for myself, and like, I fully stand with God and I am fully surrendered to God. And that is who built this business. That is who equipped me in the ways that he equipped me. And that is who made me, like, people, my middle name is Ray, and people will always be like, oh, hey, you little ray of sunshine. And so I'm like, it's God, like 100% to my core. Everything about Manna Made is that. And I finally went, oh, I am finally able to, every single thing that I am doing in my life is for him, aligned with him and what he has put on my heart and where he wants me to go. And it's honestly been the most beautiful thing ever.
I agree. For him, through him are the words that come to mind right there. And the number 23 too. I'm a big Michael Jordan fan. It's always been one of my favorite numbers too. too. To me, it means I think of it and I just think of greatness, and that can
Yeah,
actually apply to this as well. Greatness is what
absolutely.
we're after, but greatness within yourself through him for him, not greatness to make someone else wealthy because you're part of their pawn system. Um,
Right.
and
Right.
so that was really beautifully said. And I'm over here. My contacts are bugging me a little bit. So the tears, there's some natural tearage going on. Is that a word? And my contacts are a little
Completely.
messed up right now. But so I'm gonna just say, it's just a contact thing, Sam. But man, I love seeing people in their purpose. This is why I do this show. I'm like dancing over here. I'm so happy. I'm smiling ear to ear. Guys, if you listen to this episode, thank you. I appreciate it. But I feel like you totally missed out because this was an animated. Like, I should have just told everyone at the beginning, just go and watch it on YouTube because you don't get the full Sam experience just listening to her. She's a vibe. She's a vibe you got to watch. But so this is not a curveball, and I hate that we're shutting it down, but I'm going to have you on for 2.0, 3.0. You are welcome on the show anytime. And that's just a thank you for everything you've done for myself, Social Chameleon,
Oh,
Mic'd
thank
Up
you.
Merch. You're just a great human being, a friend, a light in this world. I can go on and on and on. You are always welcome on the show. With that
Thank
being
you.
said, I wonder if, I don't know if I'm sure you have thought of this, but I haven't heard you elaborate it or articulate it yet, at least just
Okay.
talking to you as a friend. So you're the author and protagonist in your own life story,
Mm-hmm.
and you get to write the ending. And God willing, you continue to live a long, prosperous life. You're looking back, you're reflecting on it, and you
Yep.
get to define your legacy. What would that be?
Ooh, that
Yeah.
one. Um,
Well, what comes
I
to mind right
want
away? What just filled your heart real quick?
I want people to feel better because they knew me.
Yeah. Well,
Like
you're
whatever
doing it.
like, whatever that looks like for them,
Hmm.
it just yeah.
Sam, there's this. I forget who mentioned it. I wish I would remember. It was talked about on the show. I know there's like memes with it, and it's been talked about on other platforms as well. But it's being that person that when the phone rings and you look, you're
Mhm.
busy and you see your phone's going, and you
Yeah.
look and you're like, oh, Samantha. Like it's the difference of, oh, man, I got to deal with this. I hate to say it. There's a few people that I have
There
that
is both.
call, and I kind of get like they're just gonna drain me of Sometimes I even feel like I make the mistake of bringing that you know, I don't want to call it negative energy, but when you got stuff that you need to vent, you kind of know who the people that listen. But
Yes.
Sam, what you just said is when someone's phone rings, you want to be the one that they're jumping for joy because Sam's calling. Now, I feel that that's the energy that you do bring, and so I know you're mindful of it. But keep doing everything that you're doing, and the more time and energy, it's like momentum is the word, right? So if you keep doing
Yeah.
what you're doing, you've only been doing this since 2022, I think we said, right? It's
Yeah, I've owned the LLC since 2019, but
yeah,
I benched it
yeah.
because I was terrified. So yeah, it was the
It's been
launch
less than 2 years,
2020.
guys, and she's got this much momentum. Imagine what the next 5, 10, 15, 20. You're going to be doing so many different things. I know that too. But my point is, you're realizing that legacy right now, like the seed has been planted, and God knows what He's doing, and it's way above what
Oh,
you and I can even comprehend at the moment.
yeah.
But I just love the fact of seeing somebody on purpose for Him through Him. This has been an amazing catch-up conversation, but also I think a lot of information that people can learn from, Christian or non-Christian. It's just about being a great person, bringing energy to the table, and using your God-given gifts, and you're doing that in so many ways. Did you have something on your heart today when you knew you were going to be on the show that you said you kind of wanted to get out?
No, I figure so. I full disclosure prayed before we got on here, and just I gave it. I
Yeah.
said, let whatever needs to be said, and it speak to people how they need to be spoken to.
Hmm.
So I don't think that anything that I could come up with could supersede the ways that he will use what we've said or what we've talked about, even if it wasn't what we figured we would talk about or ways that we want to talk about our business.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's got it, and he's gonna speak to people the way that they need, which we could never know, but he does.
100% agree. This is amazing. I knew it was going to be awesome. You over-delivered again. Every time we chat, you over-deliver, and I appreciate it. So I'm just going to remind everybody, check out Samantha's website, Manna Made. I love that it's got more meaning than just being similar to Samantha, Manna, and plus Manna, what it means in the Bible. It all connects. I feel like every part of your story and the different things you do, it is that spider web. And we talked a little bit about spider webs with no doubt. Boom, it's all connecting. See that? Working it in.
That was real exciting.
That was real exciting. So buzz your head, throw on those rollerblades. Let's put on some pink and bright green and orange and go rollerblading up and down.
Yes.
I'm tracking.
Yeah. Check. Here we go.
Sam, thank you so much for your time, your energy. You're a beautiful person, literally every way that word means. And so I'm just grateful for you as a friend. We're going to leave everyone with the last two things. I'm going to say the first part, you say the second part. Be great and
be grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you.